And welcome to the Writer's Life, a place where you get the sight, sound, smells, taste of my particular writer's life. And where you get the truth. Right, Hem?
Oh yeah. Well, thanks
Yeah.
for inviting me.
You get John Hemingway,
He never
who is a part of...
never takes me out to the restaurant or anything, but it's come to my
Nah,
blog.
come to the blog.
Yeah,
Yes.
come to the blog.
So, what shall we talk about?
We talk about mayhem.
True Pulp. John was kind enough to submit a story to us, and it's a killer story.
Yeah, it's basically tied up with the trilogy, which
Yeah.
I'm trying to finish it right now after divorce. That's kind of sort of noir, And
As it is. Yeah.
yeah, the first one was Murder on the Florida Straits, and then came Ron Echevarria, and this one's called Nelson's Revenge. He's a gangbanger, okay, who's working for this sort of semi-deep state type. Yeah.
Yep.
And in this one, get this, he's got three gangbangers, okay, and he's sending them off to various sort of sanctuary cities and stuff like that and everything because he knows that the cities are hiring the gangbangers, and what's more, they're also out to sort of get Trump. So this is
Yeah, it's a good story. I've read it.
yeah. This one, yeah, the short story is really good, but
I mean, I read the short story, but I like what you're doing now. Yeah.
I mean, you were on the same track too. There's just so much of that. Oh my god!
The latest I finished, this book called Alive on Arrival. It's with this new agent, and it's about gangbangers as well. And,
I got to read this one. It's already out.
But it's not. No, it's.
Oh, you're with an agent. Okay, right.
Another agent, but she was into it, and so but not a lot of New York legacy is into bashing gangbangers.
Because right now in the chapter,
in fact, if anything, those poor people, they have no choice but to be gangbangers. Let them in.
Oh no, we're not like that.
Yeah,
I've got gangbangers who are working on basically going in there with a Glock 45, with laser. What am I saying? Laser. What is it? Targeting. Yes, laser targeting, and also a suppressor. And so they go into the first place, which was in Chicago, and they came in with these guns, and they didn't know what they hit them. Boom, 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 boom. And then they dumped all the bodies in, Lake Michigan. And then they went back to Miami, and he says, "I'm taking you guys to New York City this time." He says, "Oh, there's gonna be some fucking hole in the wall." And instead, they're in the plaza because
they're gonna be in that
some of the deep state types are saying, "We like the way you work."
Right. Yeah, exactly.
This is so much fun, fucking A.
Yeah. Isn't it so much fun?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's like how much fun was it for like the old pulp writers of the 30s writing about the gangsters?
Oh my god! It's just so. I mean, today in this country and everything, it's just like, if you can't write something in America right now, you can't write. I swear to God, because there's just so much coming at you, so the juicy stuff
much going
too.
on. Yeah, this is the best time ever to be a writer, man. And there's
Absolutely.
so many ways to publish it. And Hem was just. Can I talk about Strange Tribe or no?
Strange Tribe. Yeah, you can talk about the reprinting of it. It's a bit different from noir.
It's a bit different from noir, but I just want to. Everybody knows, John is Ernest Hemingway's grandson, and therefore he's privy to the all the inside scoop of Papa and your dad, Greg, Gloria. And I was first introduced to John really through Strange Tribe, which I read like in 3 hours on a Christmas morning.
Tell him how Ernest was a Mormon and that he had lots of wives.
Ernest was not a Mormon, but he was. It's an interesting story because here we have at the time like the world's most macho character as he was perceived, and he could have come down hard on his son, and in fact, there's Ernest at the finca, with his cats in a Gap commercial.
Gap. Oh my God. Gap. What?
Yeah. Your grandfather sold khakis.
Yeah, I don't think that that even founded the company while he was still
Let me
alive.
guess, you didn't get a dime from that probably. But anyway, but
I don't, it looks old, you know.
Yeah, I'd say it's 10 years old at least. But
I've got some magazines here that people keep sending me, old stuff from like the 1950s with all.
Like one of his great advertisements is he's sitting on the veranda reading a book with a beer, and he's like, "Oh, there's nothing I enjoy more than a cold Ballantine beer at the end of a long day." And
he liked wine and he liked cocktails, but I don't think he really sort of gravitated towards hops.
He claimed to like He claimed to like drink beer, but like to him it was like water, and then he'd have scotch and sodas or whatever. But no, he drank beer.
He basically stayed in Italy because that is where you could find arguably the best wine on the planet. If you go to that area between near Trieste in Slovenia and everything, best white wines in the world, hands down.
Yeah. I've been up there, but I haven't drank. Well, I drank the prosecco up there, for sure.
Plus, think of all the cocktails you could make with the grappa that they have there in Veneto.
Yeah. And I've had the grappa.
Yeah.
Although grappa to me tastes like paste. I could never. It's an acquired taste, I think. Grappa.
This is Hemingway rum.
Hemingway rum. Oh, is that the
Papa's Peeler? Yeah.
Papa's Peeler. Yeah. But anyway, what I was going to say was Ernest could have come down hard on his son about his predilection for cross-dressing, but he didn't. He was very understanding with him, and even though they fought a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, they were typical father-son sort of thing. They got to work it out.
Right.
But not typical. It's kind of difficult. Yeah.
Right. But
kind of tragic. Yeah.
Speaking of Hemingway, I have always argued, and we're here to talk about Pulp Fiction a little bit, and in anticipation of our anthology True Pulp, which will be out this summer. Kickstarter starts June 3rd. You'll be part of that. I argue that your grandfather wrote three of some of the best noir stories in the world, two of which, The Killers.
Yeah.
And also To Have and Have Not.
Great one.
That to me is noir through and through. And he was very influenced by Ray Chandler and stuff.
Yeah, and also the Bible, To Have and To Have Not.
Right. Yeah, that title, sure. Yeah.
I mean, so he just.
What is it? Ecclesiastes used to provide him with the best titles. He said, "Sun also rises."
Well, he came from a family which, his father's brother was a missionary in China, and he wanted all of them to go over there and grace
George.
Fuck that. Yeah.
Yeah. So. With that, like in your legacy, like what do you see? What's your version of pulp? Because even Dean Wesley Smith, who was like a pulp master, who's going to be in the anthology, he kept emailing me like, "What are you talking about, pulp?" Even though he was testing me, like, what do you, what's your definition, Vince? Like, what is it? What kind of stories that you want? And I'm like, well, Pulp Fiction, like
mystery, Pulp Fiction is it.
Thriller, or like from the magazines of the 1930s, 40s, 50s, like action thrillers, adventure. And he's like, I'll see what I can do. And he sent over like 3 stories. He knew exactly, but
it's just so free. There's so much out there too, and you can touch any kind of angle you want. You can.
That's the thing. It's
dramatic. You can have violence. You can have. How would you say it? Just being in a sense of sort of absolute, I don't know, low, in terms of psychological sort of, in terms of like depression or something like that.
Right. back against the wall. That's the way I think of it. Yeah.
They are back against the wall, but at the same time, they are extremely, extremely vulnerable.
Yes.
Because they love. They love. They want to have love is usually sort of very sort of short because these people are dying,
Right.
That's what I see it as.
That's what I see it as too. And and you're willing, you're not only up against it all, but you're willing to do the wrong thing to do the right thing. So you're willing to blow somebody's brains out, like if that's the right thing to do for this to make things right. And it can be gritty, it can be dark, it can be lonely, and it can be pure escapism, and it can be sexy. But
oh yeah, a lot of sex for sure.
Yep. But as a writer, it's the most fun you're ever going to have because you're not going to be bored.
No.
You can just pound these out and I find myself when I'm writing say a Moonlight story, I'm like, all right, I'm bored. He's either going to hook up with some chick or somebody's got to get killed right now.
Yeah.
And because that's just the way I have ADD or whatever it is. I need to be like.
In the chapter the chapters I'm working on now, this one guy had hooked up with a pretty young lady from Ukraine, but by the time he comes back from Chicago, she just didn't like it, and for some reason, I think she might have killed herself or something like that. And so, no problem. They went out.
No problem.
They went. They found these sort of, plump sort of senoritas, okay, and then they all went to this house with a pool and everything else like that.
Right. That's awesome. Cool. So
you can be like that, or you can be like the short story,
right,
where that woman is intrinsic to everything that has any kind of meaning in that short story.
Right.
And she even, there is this whole part about how you need to sort of use colors, in a Mexican way, And I thought that was...
In what way? What is that? Use colors in a Mexican way?
Because certain colors mean certain things. They mean violence, or they mean, coming together, or holiness, that sort of stuff.
Right.
Or red, which is the color of passion. All of these things. I just went into some sort of Wikipedia having to do with Mexican sort of use of the right. Their use of colors to express the beliefs that they have. This I found amazing, especially when this girl, was basically telling them, this and how they would live with this, and how it would there was one color for protection. And
what color is that?
I'm not sure if it was a black one or white. I'd have to go back and look at the short story.
I had no idea about this. See, you learn so much when you talk to John Hemingway. It's amazing. I'm so much smarter for this now.
Aww.
Yeah, some conversations you're just purely, you're with some people, you're just like, I'm so much dumber for that conversation. But when I speak with you, I'm so much smarter.
It was something that I discovered. I really didn't know about this, but then I thought, oh my God, I got to use this in the story. And it became the whole story in the end.
Right.
That impact.
So you're you're starting to write fairly quickly.
Yeah, compared to where I was in the past when, I had to have the Hemingway's burden, and all that sort of stuff. There is no burden. Basically, next day you can go and scratch everything off, okay? Or you can make it pristine or something like that. And that pristineness might lead you to something else. Like to me this morning when I was thinking about, where are they going to sleep? They're going to be some fucking hole in the wall. No, they put them in the plaza.
Sure.
Even that is going to be interesting.
But that's like a dose of reality.
Yeah, and then they got to kill these guys who are hanging out at this place called, I think, the Yolo or something like that. Yucca. It's one of the few places, we have dancing and Latino nights on Thursdays and Saturdays, and it's packed. Okay. And they have to get the people who, the deep state want them to get, well, not the deep state. I should say the counter deep state, because Ron Echeverria works for a group of people who are happy that Trump has come. And at the same time, they want to protect him because they know that it's very difficult,
Right.
in his position and everything. And so they're going around and just basically wailing on anyone who they think is going to be an assassin of this man.
Right.
So, okay, if you're not MAGA, you're probably not going to like it.
well, because it's only in their best interest to try to destroy the one man who wants to kick him out.
It's true. Yeah.
So it's in their best interest. Of course, they're going to be anti-POTUS, anti-Trump. They'd much rather have the situation they had before, where it was free reign.
Oh yeah, it was anything goes essentially. I was just talking about that today, because they were saying, so what kind of bad guys are we going after this time? And he says, and all this sort of motherfuckers and everything like that. What have they ever done to you? And he says, nothing. And he says, but not all of them are working in fentanyl now. I mean, that's sort of passe. I mean, it's there a bit, but there's also child trafficking. Yeah. And he said, this group in particular, according to the Border Patrol, has brought in at least 5,000, underage children. Some of them even, 1 or 2 or stuff like that,
Yeah.
And so and they're all going, oh, que mierda, and all that sort of stuff, and so that is their next one, and God only knows where that's going to lead me. I really don't have a sort of a game plan for it, but
we're like on the same track here, because I just finished, I just finished another Moonlight, and I'm writing back-to-back Moonlights for some stupid reason, and it deals with the sex trafficking.
The sex trap.
Yeah.
Sex crap. Oh, yeah. I like the sex crap.
And, a shipping container.
A shipping container
of Mexican women is dropped off at a lawyer's on a lawyer's parking lot. By
how long have they been in that container?
Long enough to suffer, but not to die. They weren't ready to die yet. But
well, yeah. I mean, depending on where they are, if they're like, say, for instance, in Arizona, and
it gets hot, yeah.
In the summer,
no, they're upstate in New York.
Oh, okay. Well, then they're gonna freeze.
It's like early fall.
Yeah. Oh, early fall. Okay, perfect. There we go.
Perfecto. I got to try some of this rum, man.
It's good.
You're gonna have to send me a bottle.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty good. Even better than this, I would say, is their rye whiskey, Hemingway rye whiskey. Yeah. That stuff is absolutely amazing. It was voted twice by a connoisseur magazine as the best rye whiskey in the world. 2 years in a row. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
How many Papa Pilar liquors do you have? What varieties altogether?
Well, okay, you've got the rums, which various sort of types of dark and light.
Right.
The dark one is basically like a sort of a cognac, whereas the light is for drinks and stuff like that.
Right.
And then you have now this rye whiskey, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, it costs maybe, I don't know, maybe like $90 with taxes or something like that. I don't know, for a bottle.
Wow. All right. Any Irish whiskey yet?
Here, just a second. I'll show you what the bottle looks like.
All right. Yeah. Let's see it. Let's see it. just so there's no dead air. That's John Hemingway retrieving some whiskey.
I thought I had it back there. I must have moved it someplace. Anyway,
everybody will Google it.
On it, it has RYE. Okay, but with little sort of, the kind of sort of typewriters that Ernest had back in the 30s or whatever, and press them like this and everything like that, and they're round. Okay, so they took these keys RYE and they put it on the bottle. Okay,
that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is good.
And there used to be, and I think your uncle used to run it. They had a line of furniture, of Hemingway furniture.
They did back in the 80s,
90s, 80s, 90s.
Yeah, they're still doing other stuff. I don't know half of it, but the biggest licensee is certainly the Hemingway Rum Company, without a doubt.
Is it? What about the Hemingway AI for writers?
I saw that.
I think I warned you about it. I said, I hope you're getting paid for this. I see like stuff all the time, and I'm like, and I'll email you, and I'll be like, are you getting paid for this? Because like,
oh no, I
think I'll call it Hemingway, and no one will know the difference.
No, as a descendant of Ernest, yeah, I have a percentage in Hemingway Limited, which makes the rum and also the rye, and Hemingway AI. And then there are still a lot of books out there which are being published by Simon & Schuster.
Right.
So I get like maybe let's say 12% or something in some of them. It depends.
That's not bad because and some of those, like Sun Also Rises, is like public domain now, isn't it? But
it is, yeah. They're slowly
have they renewed the license?
Yeah. Slowly they're going. I don't know that they can at a certain point because there's a
limitation. Is that just that's it?
Yeah.
So it's 70 years.
Yeah. So I mean,
Sun Also Rises is almost 100 years old.
Yep. They're slowly going out of print. Well, not out of print, out of copyright. Okay.
Right.
Because then anyone will be able to print them.
Right.
Which is just and
But how does that work? I mean, will you still get your cut, or is it just like public domain now?
Okay, Hemingway
Better Media can publish its version of Sun Also Rises, and
well, okay. For instance, Hemingway Limited, no, it is not subject to that because it's a company.
Right.
Okay. The copyrighted material is limited by law.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when it becomes public domain, that's it?
Pretty much, yeah. As far as I know.
Yeah, because I'm just curious for like our books, like our one day it will be public domain. I mean, not that we'll give a shit, we won't be around for it, but our grandkids will.
They're going to be huge bonfires, when finally it goes out.
Yeah. I plan on being one of those writers that's really rich and famous when he's dead. So I can't be bothered by it.
Isn't that what we all want? Yeah.
Yeah, posterity, of course.
Posterity, yes.
Anyway, Hem, it's been great talking to you as always. I'm very excited. This guy's got the life. He not only carries on the Hemingway legacy. You're great writer. You're on your way. Where next? To Italy.
Italy, yeah.
And then you're heading to the Running of the Bulls, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And you'll be in Vienna as well, I think, for a conference. So this guy's got the life. Never feel sorry for this guy.
Yeah. And I'll be going in there in part, to meet this young lady.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it's true. She's been my pen pal. Okay, and I'm going to propose to her.
Oh boy.
Because she's
Ukrainian. That's I'm still so sworn off marriage that but I give you credit because you still have hope.
I have to repopulate the new world after their attempts at killing us all. Yeah.
Right. Make more authors.
I did not take the jab,
Right.
So
right.
My
Good
blood is pure. Yes.
Yes. I took the jabs and whatever. All right, and it's great talking to you. Thanks again for submitting a story to the True Anthology. It's only going to make it that much better and that much more popular. And one of these times, I'm going to follow you on your adventures.
Sounds good.
All right, man. I will talk to you when I talk to you.
All right.
Ciao. And ciao, everybody else.
Ciao.